I heard you and Mia talking about Laura. She's a sweet kid, but she's such a little rascal. Aww, how lovely. I sincerely miss them.
Life wasn't as great as humans think. After I broke up with my ex, I didn't think I would be able to find love. Not only that, I felt like there was no meaning to my life. No purpose. And that's why I told Charlotte to let me go.
Hello everybody, my name's Dulx, I go by they them pronouns, and for Mob Talker 2025, I voice the roles of Jennifer as well as Blazette. When I have free time, I like to play video games, I like to watch anime, though not as much recently, I've been a little bit too busy. But also a little fun fact, I'm a pretty good player of claw machines, if I do say so myself. Anytime I see one, I have to nab something. Otherwise, I'm a failure. So, yeah, gotta do that. The first I heard of Mob Talker as a project was when I was looking up open projects that I could work on as a voice actor. But it struck my interest because I remember hearing about, like, the mod for the Mob Talker way back, like, years and years ago. So I thought it was really interesting that someone was putting together, like, a story and having people voice those characters. So I just wanted to hop in if I could, and I landed it, so here we are. Voicing the character of Blazette was definitely a bit of a challenge, not gonna lie. I'm a very mellow person, I don't usually raise my voice, in fact I rarely ever do. So going from that to screaming and growling and being like such an extreme was definitely different. It was a challenge that was really interesting and enjoyable to take on. You know, got to let that inner rage out. But yeah, it was very fun. In terms of Jennifer, she was a lot closer to my way of speaking, so I didn't have as much of an issue. Like, not issue, just as much of a challenge. But I did have to be mindful not to have her sound too much like Blazette, so I definitely had to pitch it up a little bit. Sound softer, gentler, really up that, like, older sister energy, you know? But both characters, very enjoyable to act out, and yeah. I think if I were to ever meet Jennifer in person, I think we'd get along. I myself am an older sibling, so we could probably connect with that. She gives off a very, like, calming energy, so I think, yeah, she'd be very relaxing to be around, and just overall easy to be with. As for Blazette, my first instinct would be to say I'd be too intimidated, but at the same time, I don't think I would ever do anything to really rile her up. I think, I would behave enough in her presence where she wouldn't mind me. At least I hope she wouldn't. But I admire her determination and just the way she holds herself. So I'd like to think I could get to know her a little bit more. You know, get past the rough exterior. I got into voice acting, I guess, after I started, like, taking a voice and speech class in college. That kind of gave me the boost I needed to create, like, an account on Casting Call and kind of auditioning for stuff, actually, rather than just, like, thinking about it, you know? I just needed that push. Right now, definitely a hobby. I don't think it will ever become a career. Not that I wouldn't want it to, but I don't think I'm quite at that level, you know? Because, you know, that sounds like such a cool job, like voicing characters and cartoons, video games, movies even. That just sounds so insane, especially because, you know, I'm camera shy, so, like, acting without the camera. What a concept. So far in my voice acting experience, which is not a lot, difficulties would be maybe ensuring I don't damage my voice from doing something I'm not properly prepared to do, or maybe I'm just a little bit too excited to try something and it just, like, I don't know, like I pull something. But I never want that to happen. So far it hasn't been an issue, but I've been very careful about that, very mindful. To make sure it doesn't. I don't want to put off, like, a week of, like, not being able to do anything because I just, like, mess up my voice. But I guess another thing, sound quality. Like, I'm not in a studio. I'm in my room with my microphone and not, like, professional soundproofing. So I need to ensure that, like, it's very quiet and I do my best to make sure everything is the best sounding it can possibly be. I mean, I've always kind of like admired like voice actors in video games, anime, stuff like that. I think there is one specific moment that kind of influenced me into wanting to do it myself, just because I was so odd. But I remember playing Tales of Berseria, and when I heard Velvet's voice, she was voiced by Cristina Valenzuela. I think that was probably the voice actor that kind of initially sparked that urge, I guess, thinking about it. For anyone who wants to get into voice acting, not that I'm the most professional, like, opinion out there, I think really just start auditioning for stuff. That's the first step, it's the hardest step, but it's also so much easier after you take that. Because I battled with that for like years before I actually made my first audition, but after that it just became so much easier where it's like, I improve with every audition, I like experiment with my voice. That's another thing. Really, really put your all, like go to the extremes. You want that like high intensity of like whether it be happy or sad or just neutral, really. Just put your all into those auditions, and that is going to sound so much better than being reserved and shy and just like, oh, this I won't sound good this way. But yeah, that's my take on it. To all the viewers of Mob Talker 2025, thank you so much for watching. I had so much fun working on these characters. I learned a lot for sure. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching it just as much, if not more.